Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got a special guest. So this is Viktor. He is an astrology specialist. Today we're going to be talking about psychics and how to spot it in your natal chart, and if you have psychic ability. Spoiler, you actually do, because everybody's got some. And Viktor is an amazing psychic, especially if you're not just interested in learning more, maybe you don't know anything about astrology. Viktor could help to teach you. He does a lot of courses. I'm going to hand it over to Viktor now. Viktor, would you tell us about yourself and about your courses and stuff like that?
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. Well, I've been doing astrology for 20 years, and just like yourself, basically I started astrology because I felt like I had psychic abilities. And sometimes the chart is, when I use astrology, the chart is just talking to me. I see those symbols and then pictures are popping up in my head. And I just utilize those pictures to make a round story out of it. And it works absolutely fine. Of course, astrology has got a little bit of a science behind as well. So everyone can study that. As you mentioned, I'm running a couple of courses at the moment for popular demand. I'm doing one next month on how to spot money in your chart. So I'm going to be giving you tips how to become rich. And believe it or not, everyone can. We're going to be talking about like what type of money blockages you have got to overcome. Believe it or not, I was a poor kid. I lived on the street as well when I was younger, but I decided not to do that anymore. And I found a way to turn things around. So spotting your talent in a chart is very, very important.
Oh, that course sounds so good and so exciting. And I'm sure with what's going on now with, the quarantine stuff, a lot of people could use the advice of knowing how to attract money to themselves and their natural talents. I personally feel like, it's not been a good thing that's happened, but it's given a lot of people a chance to get back to themselves and understand what it is they really want in life. So it would really be a good time to get into studying something new like astrology, especially if you're Libra rising like me.
Yeah. You see, I believe that 80% of people don't even do what they are meant to be doing. They just get stuck at a workplace, and
Yeah.
I got stuck for 20 years in catering, and I must say I liked it, but I always knew that it wasn't my path. And once you figure out what your path is, it's such a liberating feeling. And when you do what you are passionate about, you don't even notice that you have already worked 16 hours and you still enjoy it. So I really recommend everyone trying to figure out what their talents are, and maybe trying to work with those, make money.
Well, maybe one of your talents is being a psychic.
Maybe, exactly.
Maybe. Yeah. I am a Libra rising, as I mentioned, so all my money houses fall into what a lot of people and what I do consider are like the psychic signs. So my second house is in Scorpio, my sixth is in Pisces, my 10th is in Cancer. So I make money through those sort of things and doing readings and stuff like that. It's interesting because Beyonce is a Libra rising as well, but she must be using some sort of psychic ability. Like she always makes hits. She's good at guessing what people want, and I often joke that Libra risings would actually be good at playing stocks or something, because we might just actually know what ones to play. So yeah. And do you have any?
The more water element you've got in your chart, the better your psychic abilities are. And those are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now, psychic abilities is pretty much talking about being able to connect to the divine. And the divine power is led by the planet of Moon, because Moon is associated with the night energy. So if you have got, for instance, Moon in any of the water signs, that already gives you a great psychic ability. Everyone has got those anyway. They just have to develop on those talents. There are those teachers, gurus, there are exercises to work on your psychic abilities. But also there are some of the houses which are considered psychic houses, such as the 4th, 8th, and the 12th.
I'm
They
a
are
12th
very
house
good at.
moon.
You are a 12th house moon, very
Yeah.
great insight. I'm sure you must be one of the best ones, because 12th house is really about spirituality. So one of those positions is extremely good for psychic abilities. But you know what? Even when it comes to connecting to the divine, and the divine power in astrology is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is the co-ruler of Pisces, the modern ruler of Pisces. Now, Neptune rules anything to do with the subconscious. It's like you being able to penetrate into a different era, being able to penetrate into a different dimension. So if you've got the planet of Neptune in the 1st, the 3rd, the 8th, or the 12th house, that's a very great indication that you've got this ability. Why? Because the 1st house is always going to be talking about the energy which you have got around you. So if you have got Neptune there, you've got the ability to feel people when they are close by to you, or they don't even need to be close by, just picking up on their energy field.
So empathic, sort of.
Yes, that's right. Yes. It's like being able to tap into their emotional world. When you've got Neptune in the 3rd house, there is like you being able to hear things. It's like having a spirit board, and the spirit board is, you know, when in many American films you can see in the older times that they're playing with spirit boards.
Yeah.
That's like the Neptune in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Because
I don't play with those guys.
Pardon?
I said I don't play with those spirit boards at all.
No, I don't either. And it's not like they are Neptune in the 3rd house is going to play with it, but they've got the ability to hear what the spirits have got to say to them.
Can
it's
I
like
just
knowing what you feel, what you think. You are able to finish someone's sentence.
With Neptune, because it rules unconditional love, but then there's also an element to it that has a lot of deceit. I think if you're like doing spirit boards, or even if you're, because I wrote something down about this, even if you're getting communications through from the spiritual world, there's a chance that it could be deceptive. But if you yourself are tapping into like unconditional love, and you'll know because of the way you're thinking and feeling, then it's more likely to be angelic kind of guidance. I also think like Neptune in the 3rd, or you know, even Scorpio in the 3rd house can show sometimes maybe schizophrenia, because it's like the person's a radio and they're tuning into so many different places. So sometimes it can be really positive stuff they hear, and sometimes it can be a little bit not so fun. Yeah, I just thought I'd add that.
But you are absolutely right. These people can be terrified of these things, especially at an early age.
Oh, yeah.
They might feel that they are being haunted by some spirits and so forth. And we do need to know spirits don't want to hurt you.
No.
They're always here to get you to deliver a message for them.
Whether it's scary or not, it's still got the same outcome, definitely. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So Neptune has got something similar effect in the 8th house as well, because 8th house is just an occult house. There's the house of invisibility. There's the house of very deep consciousness, very deep energy, which is not easy to bring onto surface. And then you've got the 12th house energy, which is all about psychic placement, that spiritual connection to your dreams. So if you have got Neptune there, you can be a great dream interpreter. You must listen to your dreams, because every single of them has got a meaning. Very powerful.
Me with Moon in the 12th house, I had a lot of dreams. That's how it started for me. Like I dreamed things and they would happen like at a very young age. I often find people with Moon in 12th house or Moon in the 8th house or even 4th inherit their ability through their mother as well. It can make you very shy in some ways, and usually the relationship with mother is I think in like, you know, those cookbook astrology, they say, oh, you've got a bad relationship with your mum. No, it's very, very close. like the bond is really, really intense, and the psychic connection is really, really strong when you've got moon in the 12th. I did a little bit about the houses as well. So like, say you mentioned Neptune is like very strong and it will give a lot of psychic ability. Neptune in the second, you might have the experience of, I don't know if it's called clear sense, but
yeah,
when you smell something or taste something. Me, myself, when I was really, well, I was about 13, 14, and I thought I was like a super girl, I thought I was like a bad girl. I had this experience of like a ghost touching me all night, and it was like somebody, you know, like the tag of your clothes, somebody was rubbing that on my body, and I was there all night just crying, so scared, wishing it would stop. And the next day I wouldn't let, I was at a friend's house, I wouldn't let her mum like not hold my hand all day. I was so scared. So you know, because of the second house touching and the element of physicality and stuff.
the
So
five senses, yes.
yeah, so it can sort of play out wherever it is. I think as well, fourth house people, or people who have a lot of fourth house energy, or even Cancer, know a lot about their family, or people that they're close to, they know a lot about their family as well. This is like maybe Asharic records. Cancer and Pisces, or 12th and 4th, Asharic records, I hope I'm saying it right.
Yes.
But I feel like they can tap into that sort of thing. Also 12th house moon, astral travel. I did write some notes, I'm gonna look at them. Astral travel is definitely something that happens. I've personally seen parallel lives, past lives, just like without trying, just going to sleep and I'm a different person. I'm like, oh, this is my new life now. So yeah, past life regressions, and they are really strong empaths as well. I feel like Scorpio's a little bit different than Cancer and Pisces, or the 8th house is a little bit different, because it's like they watch a lot with body language, and it's all the unsaid things, the unseen things they pick up on you, on like a person. Yeah, so I find Scorpio quite interesting.
Scorpio is like Scorpio, and is an investigating sign. So it's like a lie detector. You cannot lie to a very strong Scorpion person because they see you through. So you are like a white sheet for them, and they can see the black spots on those when something is not right. And that's why they can see the bottom of your soul. So, of course, if you go back a little bit in history or in myth, you were only transferred over once you were dead. If your soul was clear, if your soul was all, you know, it left behind everything which you didn't need anymore to pass over. And then if your soul wasn't clear, then you were not transferred over, and you had someone there to check this for you. I just wanted to mention that with your moon in the 12th house, you know, 12th house is pretty much about karmic experiences.
Oh gosh.
And the moon is very much about your ancestry line. So usually it indicates that someone wants to pass the knowledge over to you. And then it's like tapping your back, come on, take it from me. And the sooner you do that, the sooner basically you feel liberated and kind of left alone as well. Because these spirits can be sometimes a little bit annoying though, because they've got another life to live. So they want the chosen one, if you like it, to take the responsibility over for them. So it looks like it's going to be maybe if, for instance, if your moon has got connection to Pluto, it might indicate a woman 4 generations before. So some of the planets going to be indicating how many generations we need to go back.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and Pluto is, by the way, another psychic ability planet. Of course, because they've got this very deep connection to the spirits, to the dead. They are able to communicate with them. So Pluto, especially in, again, in the 1st, the 4th house, the 8th and the 12th. 4th house, in many cases, you see, they bring in from family. So someone else in the family had some psychic abilities also. By the way, I do have Mercury in my 12th house.
Okay. That's why you, like what you say, it just flows together so nicely, and it's like you're just almost channeling what you're saying. Like, yeah, I
People
don't have
usually
that.
tell me, even when I do videos, Viktor, what are you looking up to the sky for? Because
Yeah.
I always looking up and I can't help it. It's just sit like that, and probably I'm downloading information.
Yeah.
Mercury in the 12th house is pretty much becoming the messenger between the gods, the spirits, and the tangible earth.
Yeah.
Um, Mercury in history was Hermes, and Hermes was the one who delivered the messages from the gods to the people living on the earth.
Mm.
So he had a very, very important role. And of course, when he didn't deliver the messages correctly, because some of the information were missing, then he got punished for those. So 12th house Mercury could indicate psychic abilities. Also, when Mercury is connected with any of these planets we listed,
Yeah.
such as Neptune, Pluto, even the Sun. So I do have a Sun in 12th house energy also. And the reason why, because Sun is all about your identity. Sun is your consciousness and it's like the life calling element in your life.
Yeah.
That's your life path. And if you've got Sun in, for instance, the 8th house or the 12th house, you can be very much interested in any hidden identity or knowing loads of occult studies, or you want to figure out how the mind works. So those people have got a very strong psychological hunger. They want to know about what psychology is, how you are put together, and then they try to figure you out, basically. And eventually they develop on those skills.
Yeah, my daughter has Sun in the 12th and Mercury also in the 12th. So it's quite interesting because she's done things before that make me say, oh, hey, how did she know that? So have you ever had experiences where you actually like hear things? I know it's a bit like taboo to talk about because, you know, it was like, but with your Mercury in the 12th house, have you ever, or is it just...
Yes, 2016, I had a very, earlier as well, 2005, actually, I started seeing death and birth in charts and overall, and I got scared of it. Imagine there is a 19, 20-year-old boy, God knows, 23 maybe, and then seeing all these death topics.
Yeah.
And I just got scared and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want anyone to, you know, I don't want to see people's death. And I saw them from drawings.
Wow.
That was one of the first things I studied. And I was like, how am I able to do that? It was just crazy. So I left all these studies for a couple of years, but then destiny took me back on the road. There was no other choices, but I had to. So I made peace with it. But 2016, I started doing meditations, and there was someone I completely fell in love with. And whenever I did a meditation, I saw what they were doing. I saw them taking drugs. I saw the room, and it scared me. Oh, it scared me a lot. And in one of my meditations, my grandma came to visit me, and she wanted to take me to someone's room to look around, but I was crying. My grandma was the one who raised me, and I had so much regret in regards to her. I screwed up a couple of things when I was younger, and yes, and then I couldn't see what she wanted to show me because I was full of tears.
No.
So it was very interesting, but it was so real.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was going to say. With the 12th house, you know, my ability works in astrology as well. So the way I see the 12th house is where a place where all time, space and everything meets. So there's no real distinction. You can go backwards, forwards, side. So astral travel, even time travel, if you believe in that, I personally have done that. Okay, so I do actually definitely believe in that. So with your grandma taking you to these places, or you actually being able to see it, 110%, Like that seems like a very 12th house energy. It's really interesting that your mind would actually take you there, like Mercury in the 12th house.
Yes, next day I called these people up and then I said, what were you doing in that street? This is how the place looked like. And the people told me that you are stalking us. That was not such a case. I was at home and I know it was on 27th of December.
Wow.
I can't forget the day because it was just tremendously interesting. Yes, so it's very powerful, but you know, I do believe if someone has got 8 or 12 house interest, they need to learn one thing in life. Stop licking your own wounds.
Oh, yeah.
Help others. Because these people have got the tendency to become like crying babies, unfortunately. They think that the world has collapsed around them. And actually your world is going to come together once you start helping others. Because you were given these talents to...
Because they're so powerful. They're actually such powerful people, but they think like, definitely.
It's like taking these underprivileged people under your wing and protect them. That's your destiny. And then you just have to be able to embrace it. If you can't, unfortunately, your life might fall apart.
Yeah. Damn, does that count for me for 12 hours? I don't want to see that. I'm joking. I've got a Leo sun, so it's a bit difficult. But this is another thing that I was going to mention. I have a Leo sun. You use whole signs. So in whole signs, it's in the 11th, but it sits in my 12th in like Placidus or whatever. But it's conjunct my K2. So again, this can give a lot of spirituality, and it makes me more shy. Like I'm going to be 30 in July and I'm then just starting to feel like like a Leo now, whereas before I just always felt, I don't know, more shy. So.
See, with the sun in the 11th house, it's no wonder why you do what you do, because you are meant to be on camera. 11th house talk about your followers, your fan clubs, your Instagram friends, Facebook friends, YouTube people, just like you guys. She is meant to become a leader of a community, and it looks like you are leading your own, leading them to find their best possible version.
Yeah, that sounds like, when the last bit doesn't sound so scary, but with K2 there, or like South Node there, I know it's different people think different things, like we're meant to leave that behind or we're meant to integrate it. But I always feel like, like, does that make me more spiritual or more dim my sun a bit?
I don't think you should leave it behind. I think the South Node and the North Node are about balance. Leo wants to shine alone. But what you have to learn in this lifetime is to be able to shine together. So for instance, doing this collaboration like we do is one of the ways how the North Node wants to expand. South Node wants to leave behind the energy of wanting to shine alone, because you can only shine through your community. So it's like, once teach you, if it's good for you, then why is it not good for your followers or your believers or your teachers and so forth?
But on a more, not just personal, thank you though, Victor, appreciate you so much. But on a more like, what's the word, interpersonal level, with the sun or a planet conjuncting South Node, because South Node's like spiritual world, what we let go of and that sort of thing, would that have the same effect as Neptune, like a similar kind of effect?
That's right. So the South Node in your chart is talent you developed in previous lifetimes. We all tend to be trying to use that talent in this incarnation as well, from a very early age. But the aim is to go to the other side and then try to actually embrace that side of the scale as well. So in your case, that's something to do with the 5th house, you know, and that could really talk about self-expression, creativity, even collaborating with your own child, you know, or it's an Aquarius energy, right? So that's a group spirit. Maybe you're meant to be fifth house through schools. So maybe you are meant to be creating a school for spiritual people, and then you can be the leader of those. You know, it really depends where Saturn is, because that's going to give additional layer to your karmic duties. So astrology is a complex thing, but it can really answer every single question of yours.
You know, with things like, all right, not doing my chart, but say somebody has Saturn in the 4th or even Saturn in the 12th, sometimes I see it as them being really afraid of their psychic abilities and, you know, having like a really bad experience. Sometimes, yeah.
I made a video on Saturn recently because I think like I
devoured it.
I feel like Saturn is misunderstood.
Yeah.
Saturn, yes, it's the planet of fear. So if you have got Saturn going on in your 12th house, you can have these fears of being attacked by the bad spirits. Because actually Asian people did believe that 12th house relates to the bad spirits.
Yeah.
We didn't understand them, of course. But Saturn wants only one thing: you working hard.
Yeah.
And once you did that, the reward will come. In my opinion, Saturn is one of the best planets. I've got that in the 9th house. That's the house of teaching. I don't see any blockages in there anymore. I used to, but once I started working hard with it, you know, I don't have any issue with it anymore. I overcame it.
Wow.
I overcame it.
Yeah, no, it seems like you have, and it's nice to hear something positive about Saturn, because a lot of people say such negative things. What about like the planet Pluto and stuff like that? What we've touched a little bit on Scorpio, but do you think Pluto could be like mediumship? I was thinking even like 3rd house and 1st house, say you've got Pluto in the 1st house or 3rd house, you may actually physically see a spirit or even an ET or something, because to me science and spirituality are the same thing. I've had so many experiences that I'm convinced of it. So yeah, you might actually see them, or, you know, physically, I don't know.
Pluto is the higher manifestation of Mars. So if you think about what Mars represents, it's all about the soldiers. It's all about the logic, actually. It's all about fighting for a better cause, standing up for the weak people, and so forth. So in that manifestation, Pluto doesn't necessarily need to be such a bad enemy of ours. It's more about actually the underworld. When you go to sleep, and then what type of energies you developed, what is haunting you in your own dreams. You know, when you sleep, and those people who cannot sleep between 11:30 to 12:30, for instance, at night, those people never can rest enough, because they never connect to the galactic center. And the galactic center is something where you receive your karmic duties for every day. So imagine that if you never sleep around that time, the body never relaxes, never gets the karmic exercises.
I didn't know that, but I know what the galactic center is, and we'll have to talk more about this at some point. But I've had like some amazing experiences. But I'm going to be going to bed early tonight. Thanks.
I tell you something. When I lived in London, I used to sleep 12, 13 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
Since I moved back to my country and I go to bed on time, I only need 5 hours sleep and I'm rested.
Wow. Yeah.
A huge difference.
Is that more to do with like the location astrology? Because guys, if you didn't know, where you're living has certain energies based on your chart, and it can really like shape your life, or what you're attracting, or what sort of experiences you have in that place. So does that have something?
It is connected to that as well. London was a moon line for me. Hungary is a Venus line, and Venus is a lot stronger planet in my chart than Moon. And Moon is psychically, I was drained.
Yeah.
Now I can, and Moon is all about sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
So I couldn't sleep. I mean, I could sleep a lot, but not properly. I always felt tired. No, it's because probably I'm guessing I also do something which I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I'm a full-time astrologer, so I only talk to people on an everyday basis, basically.
Wow. Okay. That's really interesting. And you've got like a Pisces heavy. You've got Pisces.
I've
What
got
are
a
you?
Pisces rising sign with Venus and Mars in there. I'm a very strong Sagittarian
That
person.
would make sense on why you saw what you saw about the person you're in love with, because say you've got Venus in a water sign or a water house, you will get information on the people that you love somehow, some way. That makes sense. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah, I'm just a very strong Sagittarian person. I've got 5 planets in there.
Now, I wouldn't say that it's just the water signs that have abilities. Sagittarius would be one, Aquarius is another, because obviously Aquarius is, well, the 11th house is before the 12th house, before you truly learn to not understand everything. So I think that Aquarian energy is like what we're saying about channeling, like just it all coming out very smoothly. And yeah, just seeing, I don't know, how do I want to say it? I don't have that ability, and it's so annoying. I always get tongue-tied. But yeah, like understanding more than your own wants and needs, basically, and coming from a higher place. So yeah, I think that's again another psychic sign. Or psychic.
Each of the sign has got their abilities. Just they do that in a different form.
Yeah.
A Sagittarius might gather plenty of knowledge, and then eventually it sticks together, and it just becomes easy to understand, for instance. But Sagittarius is, for instance, very good at teaching others, and then at one point they understand themselves what they are preaching or teaching about. I clearly remember I'm an English teacher, actually, and when I was teaching English a good 20 years ago to students, I didn't know what I was talking about, but I just didn't understand, if it makes sense. So I could explain that grammar. It was just not really
clicking,
able to tie to something else. And then one day when I was explaining to my students, it just came like that. Oh my days, really? That's how it connects to? And then it became so normal. And in many cases, astrology is like that as well. You're going to learn how to link things up.
Definitely. Do you use any of the fixed stars? Because Apollo and is it Cassandra that are known for psychic ability?
Yes, I do use a couple of them, but I had to realize because I love doing research. I love doing research in astrology. But I had to realize that sometimes you need to strip it back, the basics. Because when you want to do so well, and when you want to examine everything in your chart, you get confused.
Yeah.
But yes, I do use them, especially the royal stars.
Okay. So Regulus and...
Yes, that's right. Yes, especially the royal ones, because they are the brightest.
Okay. Wow. Well, yeah, I think... So sorry, you said you Pisces. What houses do you have? So you got 12th house?
So I've got 12th house Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense with the astrology.
Yeah,
completely.
Astrology, yeah.
So I'm guessing that everybody who watches this video probably has some sort of configuration in their chart that is pretty psychic, because usually people that are not aware or awakened to their psychic ability yet don't have any interest at all. And I keep seeing, like, obviously when I do charts, I'll see the same sort of Sagittarius, Pisces, Aquarius kind of energy. Interestingly, I'd even get like the same. I'd have Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising, Sagittarius Moon, like all on the same day, which is quite funny. They come. Does that happen to you when you do charts? That they come together?
It happens to me in my classes. So I've got 6 people. All of them were born on the 10th of one of the month. Another group is full of Virgo rising. The third group, all immutable energy.
Wow.
And I always find it fascinating how
It's
the
so
universe puts
interesting.
these people together,
Yeah.
because the way they order my, so basically I'm running an apprenticeship course, and they can become a well-paid astrologer. And in order they pay for the tuition, basically I just put them in the group straight away. So it's not me choosing them who should belong where. I just randomly put them in the group. And always the pattern is so brilliant, so
It's
brilliant.
so funny. It is really, really interesting, one of those things. And sometimes I wonder, like, obviously I've got a 12th house moon, but it's in Virgo. So I always feel like there's a pattern, there's a reason behind it all. But then I think maybe there actually isn't. But then I don't know, will we ever understand, basically? Yeah, it's interesting.
Astrology is all about patterns.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's why I really loved astrology. With tarot and stuff, you have to just solely use your intuition and trust in yourself. With astrology, there is a system to back it up, and it all makes sense. And no, not every Leo sign is going to be the same. There's so many different things to explain why and how. And yeah, astrology is like another language. It's so beautiful. I love it so much.
Yes, that's a language actually. I do believe translating the symbols.
Yeah.
And that's why astrology really belongs to Mercury, in my opinion, rather than Uranus.
Uranus, yeah.
Because Mercury is the only planet which is not seen by the luminaries, such as Sun and Moon, meaning that Gemini is next to Cancer, so Cancer cannot see Gemini, and Virgo is next to Leo, so the Leo energy cannot see Virgo either. So Mercury is the only planet in the sky which is invisible for both of the kings and the queens. And that only happens once a day for a couple of seconds, and that's twilight zone. So Mercury rules the twilight period, which is pretty much about a couple of seconds of knowledge when the sun and the moon hand over what happened that day to each other, when they have got a couple of seconds like knowledge exchange. So Mercury, in my opinion, is more about astrology than Uranus.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I definitely agree with that. I personally think this might be really far out there, but Mercury actually has a lot to do with the planet Earth and the energies and how we, thoughts become things, speak it into existence. Like Gemini is like, when you're really understanding how to create your reality and like think things into existence. So I feel like Gemini is actually really quite an earthy sign in a weird way, even though it's very like mutable and airy. But like, how Geminis aren't all liars, but they like to bend the truth. In a lot of other places and systems and universes, whatever, you can't actually lie. It's not possible. I feel like that's something that's not unique to the Earth, but yeah. Basically, I'm going too metaphysical now, so maybe maybe it's getting confusing. Yeah, I really am envious of your Mercury in the 12th house, like how it just flows, because I know what I want to say, but it just goes so jumbled. Yeah.
I can, Aquarius is a rational sign, so I like thinking rationally, and I like organizing myself as well. I mean, the 7th house cusp is always going to be talking about the qualities you don't owe or you try to push away from yourself. And in my case, that's the Virgo quality. So I hate being unorganized. However, I don't have any earth in my chart. But it's funny because a couple of friends of mine told me last week that, Viktor, you are so critical. And I was like, me? No way. You guys, you don't know me. And I asked friends of mine, yeah, sure, you are very critical. And then 3 of them said, and I was like, these people completely misjudge me. But then I remember that the qualities I don't want to face within me is Virgo traits. Yeah. And Virgo is a very critical sign. So I had to accept the fact maybe I'm a head critical to others and to myself as well.
Yeah, I think Virgo energy is you've got a group full of Virgo risings. Good luck to you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Hey, no, I don't get on with them. Get on well with them.
Yeah.
No,
But
I like them. Just they need a different approach from me, basically.
Definitely. I think as well, Virgo is a kind of a psychic sign, but their issue is they can't channel that psychic energy because they're trying to be or are so earthy. So it turns into anxiety and they get highly strung rather than just expressing and allowing it to flow. A lot of them, yeah, you know.
Yes, Virgo just put some of your burden down and then those psychic abilities will come naturally. Probably you just need to go to nature and then connect with nature a lot more, especially birds, which is ruled by Virgo, really, really good for them, talking to them, singing with them, and so forth. And you're going to start building on those.
Yeah.
Similarly to Taurus, which is very much about nature, but that's more about the trees. I think we've given plenty of knowledge to your
I know, thank you so
viewers.
much, Viktor, and to me as well. I've learned a lot and it's been so fun. And I'm just so chatty, so I apologise because I'll just keep
Oh no,
going.
that's all right. I just don't want to bore your viewers.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm going to place Viktor's course and stuff down below so you guys can check it out, sign up, you know, if you want to learn more about astrology. And I really encourage you to. You know, the way he says it, it sounds great. You guys, you know, I can get a little bit, what's the word? See, I just lose my train of thought. But yeah, basically it's really good. And it helps you to make a lot of sense out of a lot of things in your life. The thing is with astrology, when I picked it up, I was going through a really hard time in life. And I remember thinking, wow, my astrology, I know I can get through this because my astrology chart literally says that this was meant to happen. Nobody else could do this except for me, so it's really empowering. So I'd definitely say check it out and, you know, learn how to use it yourself. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure to connect with your followers and with you as well, of course.
Great. Oh, thanks. Okay, so speak to you soon.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.